I'm an old man now, recently diagnosed with a terminal illness and given less than 6 months to live. I've had no children, though my dear wife and I wanted to so badly. She was eaten up with cancer before she was 25 and had to have the surgery that removed all of her female organs. They took the playground, but left the slide, so to speak. When I was 23, I went to a police academy in Louisville, Kentucky. I graduated with honors at the top of my class and was assigned a post in a tiny little rural town that shall remain nameless. I won't reveal the name of the town, the county, or the true names of the suspects herein. I wanted to tell these stories to someone for years, but was worried about the NDAs I'd signed when I took the assignment. What are they going to do to me now? Eat me? Take my birthday? Hell, I don't have a hope for seeing my next birthday anyway. So without further procrastination, here are my stories of patrol in a rural area. My first strange call out was in May of '77. I was parked at a local truck stop watching for speeders and irresponsible drivers alike. My God, it was hot that day. I was sweating like Satan's nutsack. I remember right before the radio cracked to life, things seemed to change. I went from just plain hot and sweaty to being overwhelmed with a type of primal panic. And when the static from the radio broke through, I thought I'd shit myself for fuck's sake.
Car 75, come in.
Car 75. Copy.
Car 75, dispatch has you parked at the local truck stop. Is that your current 20?
Yes, dispatch. That's my 20. Over.
Good, we just received a call from an anonymous citizen that claimed to see a black big rig speeding down the road toward the old coal mine. Said the truck was all over the road, nearly ran over the school bus. Reports the rig had some type of big bulldog hanging in the windscreen as an identifier. Would you roll to the mine and report?
Copy that, dispatch. I rolled my cruiser to the mine, lights only, speeding and driving safe at the same time, so I know that can be done, okay? I didn't ever stop someone for just speeding. Anyway, I turned down Rural Highway 3356 to the old Dahmer mine. I was about a mile up that road when I saw the smoke from a rig. He had to have been absolutely rolling coal. There was 4-foot columns of black smoke billowing from the stacks of the old Mac. I closed the gap between the two of us and flipped the siren on, trying to get the driver to slow down and pull over. The road was too narrow for me to get on his side, so I couldn't force his ass off the road, and my presence behind him didn't seem to affect his speed. I looked to the driver's door to try and identify the driver, but the windows were as black as the paint. At one point we were traveling at 95 miles an hour, down a 1.5-lane highway, with no way for another vehicle to pass. I called the dispatch and told them to please close the road at the other end. It took 3 minutes for 2 other cruisers to go the short way around town and block the road. Now, we don't know if any other vehicles managed to turn onto the road in the meantime. So it's a Mack sleeper cabin police cruiser traveling almost 100 miles an hour down a narrow, twisty, hilly road in the middle of fucking nowhere. The only damn thing on that road was a trailer park that we'd already flown by, and the mine site that had been shut down last year that we were traveling towards. Very few homes were on that road at the time, thankfully. During the pursuit, dispatch advised I was granted permission to immobilize the rig if possible. I unholstered my service revolver and steadied it out the window at the outermost rear left wheel. All 6 shots hit the tire. I watched it swell and distort each time, but it never even slowed the driver down. I reported to dispatch and was told to refrain from further aggression and drop my speed to match the legal limit, since the guy had nowhere to go. I hated to do it, but an order is an order. I backed off of the throttle and allowed the truck to pull ahead. It slowed down, too. I shook my head. I remember thinking something along the lines of, "Oh, this bastard is pissing me off now." As a side note, back then it wasn't rare for cops and the good old boys to rough each other up during an arrest. It was almost expected with certain subjects. I will admit, I planned to warm this fucker's head. He would have killed the kids on that bus, and he would have killed any car traveling the opposite direction on that road. As the pair of us slowed down, the black smoke emanating from the stacks took on a different quality. They shimmered like a heat-induced mirage. It was odd. As they shimmered, I felt myself being drawn to the shapes and shit. I had to fight to remain in control of my vehicle. At one point, about 100 yards from the old mine entrance, the truck dipped down a hill, and for less than a second, my view of it was blocked. When I popped over the hill, It was gone. No smoke, no wreck, and it didn't skid off the road or pull off and hide. It was just fucking gone. Car 75 to dispatch, over.
Car 75, this is dispatch.
Dispatch, report the subject from pursuit on 3356 is vanished. Repeat, the big rig is gone.
Car 75, units at the end of the road haven't reported seeing the truck, but have reported hearing it tear through the mine. Over.
Dispatch, that's impossible. We haven't gotten that far as of yet.
Car 75, check and respond. Over.
I sped to the mine entrance. Since the place had closed down, they installed one of those swinging iron gates at the entrance. It had been crushed in. The damage was old, however, and already heavily rusted, so I knew it wasn't the Mac. I proceeded to travel the rough gravel road up the hill to the plateau of the mountain, where the strip mine was. The roads twisted and turned their way up, with several switchbacks, each at a 90-degree angle. No way a rig could speed up there, and hell, it was all I could do to turn my boat of a Ford and not have to back up and take another stab. I reached the plateau, and just sitting against the edge of the dig, where the mining company lost the coal, crushed against the rock was an old rusted rig. It looked as though it had been rolled down the mountain and had been towed up there and placed out of the way. I stopped my cruiser and got out to inspect. As I got closer, I could tell the truck had burned. Most of the paint was fine and replaced by a couple years of rust. I approached the driver's side of the mangled cab and was amazed to find that the door opened. The door jambs hadn't burned the paint off and were as black as the coal dust I walked on. I stared at the wreckage for a moment, and that's when I saw it. A big silver Mac Dog flat emblem hanging from the top of the cab. Dispatch rolled the other two cars to my 20 when I didn't reply to radio calls. They found me crouched beside the cab, staring at a blob of metal that I still have. I know I saw it as a bulldog, but when they arrived, it was a misshapen blob of crusty aluminum. Nobody knew what to make of the call-out or the situation. We eventually reported that the rig got away. Later that year, I'd learned that the truck driver had rolled his truck, with twin buckets full of coal, off the side of the mountain one day. 8 years before I chased him down that road. I guess he makes the trip once a year. I was called out for it the next year, but didn't bother to speed after him. I just drove to the mine and placed a silver bulldog on the rusted hulk. I'm tired, guys. I've got better stories, but that one weighs on me for some reason. Maybe it's the fact that I've seen the truck parked on my farm. Maybe it's old age and cancer, but it weighs on me nonetheless.